Hello, this is Beyond the Headlines and I'm Jane Gogodas. In this edition, we take a trip to Lake Chilwa to appreciate how climate change has affected people there.
When
the lake dries, people who depend on it go hungry. This is because we are able to sell the fish we catch from the lake and feed our families. In a year, when there is a lot of sun, the fish float on the water because of heat.
We'll also continue to celebrate our beauty as a country, and this time around, we'll get on a boat excursion on the Shire River. We go painting, and by the way, painting takes one blunt-eyed young man to Paris, France. Thanks for joining us, and once again, welcome. Now, world leaders will be gathering in Glasgow, Scotland this month end for the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties, otherwise known as COP26 Summit. The summit will bring parties together to accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. By the way, the Paris Agreement sets long-term goals to guide all nations to substantially reduce global greenhouse gas emissions and provide financing to developing countries to mitigate climate change, strengthen resilience, and enhance abilities to adapt to climate impacts. Malawi is one of the countries that have been hit hard by the effects of climate change. And in this report, Bernard Kankono takes to Lake Chilwa in Zomba, which is fast drying up.
As people around the world are battling with the COVID-19 pandemic and the effects it has posed to mankind, some of the oddest challenges still exist amongst us, and they are rapidly escalating. One of the challenges is climate change. The effects of climate change have long plagued mankind. However, in recent years, these problems have grown worse as a result of overpopulation. Population growth has led to scramble over natural resources such as trees and agricultural land, leading to deforestation. When deforestation occurs, the amount of water that is returned to the atmosphere through trees and vegetative cover is also reduced, resulting in low rainfall. Low rainfalls have been contributing to the drying up of water sources like rivers and lakes. Lake Chilwa is one of the affected sources. The lake basin has been struggling with frequent dry-ups. Although the water levels in the lake vary each rainy season, in recent years there has been a huge decrease in the amount of water the lake can hold. This is Kachuru in Zomba. This is one of the places where Lake Chilwa basin passes, and Kachuru Harbour is a business hub. Businesses of selling fish, motorcycle taxis, and water transportation are the order of the day. It is a sunny afternoon at Kachuru, and people around the area and beyond are patronizing the shores of Lake Chilwa for trade and fishing activities. Samson Peyavea is a fisherman. Peyavea laments on how the recent reduction of water levels in the lake have affected his business.
When the lake dries, people who depend on it go hungry. This is because we are able to sell the fish we catch from the lake and feed our families. In a year, when there is a lot of sun, the fish float on the water because of heat.
Tuonge Nzumala of Wildlife and Environmental Society of Malawi, WEZIM, stresses that for Malawi to address the drying up of water sources, there is a need to grow trees, unlike a popular routine of planting trees during a rainy season.
In our society, we call it growing trees rather than planting, and that's what we need to be doing, is growing trees. And I think the government would really help if they put in incentives about what happens when people can show that they've planted this year, they've gone back next year and taken care, because planted trees need to be taken care of. They are very different from trees that are growing naturally. So all our corporate members and corporate organizations that are helping and participating in this process of trying to plant more trees should also take part in trying to grow trees. So they go back to the same areas where they had planted before, make sure that those trees have been taken care of, replant where they might have, things may not have grown. And so we need to have that process. So we can't just plant here today, then next year we are planting in a different place. We need to go back to the same places and maintain and take care, replace, because that's what planted trees need to. Unless you are, trying to regenerate naturally, then, we're talking of a different situation. But if you have planted, you must grow, you must care for at least 2, 3, 4 years before those trees have taken root and can take care of themselves. For what is really important is securing our river systems. So if government can really enforce the laws that are already there about how far away from a river one can put their gardens, and also just put in a mandate in terms of what should 10 meters from the river look like. So we must have which kind of trees, we must have which kind of grasses growing, and this kind. And once we start building those ecosystems and really securing the rivers and the areas around the river, then we can start, talking about building our river systems and securing our freshwater systems for the future.
Professor Sosten Chiwota of Leadership for Environmental and Development Lead has been conducting research on Lake Chirwa for more than 25 years. Chiwota points out on the need to use data-driven interventions if Malawi is to control the impacts of climate change.
As you know, weather is coming with extremes. Data is important so that people know in advance if there's going to be an extreme weather event, so that the people are not taken by surprise. Those that are involved in humanitarian response can actually prepare ahead of time, but also even the communities themselves get prepared. It happened twice for us. We installed with the Department of Water water monitoring gauges on Domasi River, and we trained local people to actually monitor, and they were told if the water level reaches this high, then it means there's going to be a flood downstream, so you need to warn the people. And so they were able to do that.
As the world continues to find more sustainable means to fight climate change and to make a more resilient planet Earth, there is a great need for climate actors to utilize data-driven interventions. Through collaborated efforts and climate finance, a resilient future is possible.
Now, the Shire River may be the lifeline for Malawi, supporting a string of activities as it meanders its way down to the Zambezi River. The Shire offers Malawi a lot. We're talking about things like hydroelectric power, water, and above all, beauty and fun, as Mary Segula found out when she visited Tawale to sample what Majete Game Reserve in Chikwawa offers.
I
love my program, People and Places. It takes me far and wide and gives me that very rare opportunity to enjoy outdoor life and appreciate what Mother Nature gave to Malawi.
Drive to India, Maola Willy.
I have to confess, though, that I never knew Shire River can blow your mind away just as it did when I, alongside some work colleagues, decided to spend our day, and the night of course, at Majete Game Reserve. I bet by now you know that Majete offers plenty game. In fact, in thousands, including the big five: the elephant, the black rhino, the lion, the leopard, and the buffalo. The big five that makes Majete a unique attraction. Yes, we had plenty time to appreciate the savannah woodlands, pregnant with beauty and potential. There is nothing that excites me more than food. So I can't wait to dive in. A night drive along the park, sumptuous food and juicy drinks in between the break, all adding to the color and beautiful story of our visit. I'm trying to remember everyone I met. So I'm drinking to all of you, and I'm drinking to you, our beloved viewer. Thank you so much for being there. It's not the end, it's just us welcoming you. I wish you would taste it though, but hey, tasting it on your behalf. I love it. This is for you guys. No. Thank you. Wow. Did you ever imagine that you could come to a place, a beautiful district by the name of Chikwawa? You can come here and you can enjoy the game. And did you also know that you can enjoy a boat ride? Did you also know that this boat ride is along the mighty Shire River? Seriously, just in Chikwawa? Did you ever? Just come along. But it was this defining moment, the wow factor for me.
So now, we are about to start our activity, the boat safari.
Okay.
But before we start, I just need to do a safety briefing.
Okay.
In this river here, have got lots of crocodiles. So I'll ask you please to make sure that you are putting your hand and legs inside the boat at all times.
They don't get in the boat?
They don't come inside the boat, but if you put your hands outside there, it's like you're offering yourself to be dinner for the crocodile.
Would you like to be dinner for crocodiles? Would you like to be dinner?
I would like to taste the crocodile, but taste it by
okay.
crocodile.
Okay. Come on, let's go. We are enjoying the boat safari at Majete Wildlife and Game Reserve, and especially the place that they manage, Tawale. I mean, this is the Shire River. We're not even in Lake Malawi, you know?
We're on Shire River.
This is the Shire River. So when you come here at Majete, you get to enjoy game drive between the day, between the night, but most importantly, you can get to enjoy this cruise with the sunsets. And my God!
I just love these experiences.
Yeah. Woo, woo, woo! Woo-hoo! Yeah. Oh. Let me admit my ignorance here. I never knew you can go for a boat excursion in the Shire River until today. We are right at the middle of the Shire River. Oh, wow. I mean, look at that. There's a whole heap in front of us. To me, Shire River is for electricity and water stories, perhaps the irrigation around the Lovo and in Chalo, and yet to be actualized, the Shire World Inland Port in Sanje. But that you can actually enjoy a boat ride on this part of the river never existed to me at all. I simply could not believe I was on a boat, and of all places, in Chikwawa. Oh, the Shire River, home to the crocs and the River King, the hippo. It was, frankly speaking, like living in the wild in National Geographic episode, and me being the witness.
Majete is the best. Forget about the rest. Majete is the best. Forget about the rest.
I mean, watching the animals strolling along the reserve, or simply taking a quench or gap the riverside was simply awesome. Another statement endorsing the beauty of the warm heart of Africa. Well, next time you plan to travel, dive yourself into life beyond the Big Five at one of Malawi's big, the only Big Five destination in Malawi, Majete. For lack of proper descriptive words, it's a spoiling experience that will surely colonize you. And for your information, I am back in the studios, but my mind is lost within the savannah of Tawale and the Great Shire. Mary Innocencia Segura for Beyond the Headlines.
We took to this issue further with Andrew Chikosa, who was part of the production team touring Majete. We started by asking him his appreciation of the Big Five Majete Reserve.
I've traveled in many areas.
We took to this issue further with Andrew Chikosa, who was part of the production team touring Majete. We started by asking him his appreciation of the Big Five Majete Reserve.
There is this kind of paradise, if I could put it, in Chikwawa. Because what you said about having a boat ride on Shire River is not necessarily that alone. It's the whole package that goes with it. For example, when you move from Chikwawa or when you move from Blantyre, then you go into the reserve. Then you start understanding the breeze itself, the weather changes. You experience the untapped kind of oxygen, which is the weather itself. Then that experience also gives you another mood. Then just within the few minutes that you get into in the reserve, then in the game park, then you start experiencing a lot of animals that you can't find anywhere. Then also you move 1-2 areas, then you go to Tawale in particular, the place that you are mentioning here. It's paradise. Then they took us on a boat ride on Shire River. That also was an experience. I couldn't believe that I was in the Shire River, and that was an excellent experience. I've never experienced that anywhere in Malawi. So you see the crocs, then you see the hippos. There's 1-2 kind of fish as well that you can spot when you are moving on the Shire River. Those are excellent creatures that you can watch. Apart from that, when you are moving on the Shire River, the scenery itself is so excellent that it will take time for you to forget. It was quite an experience. Of course, I was afraid because I've never heard in my life that somebody has gone on a Shire River on a boat ride. But the experience was, I could say, better than riding a boat on a lake, because you have everything within you. You have the crocodiles that you see, oh, those are the crocodiles. And the other side, you know, the hippos are just closer to you with you. And on the other side, you could see an elephant getting some water, and other water bags, the antelopes, everything. So it was exciting. Also, there was what is called a sundowner. A sundowner is something that they set up after that boat cruise. Then you go for a sundowner where you would want the sun to go down while you are having fun, also having looking at the Shire. Exactly. Behind you though, it sits behind you. It's so memorable, and I can't speak. The experience is so amazing.
And I remember during your conversation with your presenter, Mary, you talked about it all begins with us, the Tiambendife Malawi concept. But not many Malawians are patronizing such tourist spots. When we talk about people getting to the game reserve, maybe all of us right now, we're getting to there is too much talk about the lake, maybe the giant Mulanje Mountain, not much about the game reserve. I don't know how you put it. We need a mindset change, kind of.
Well, yeah. I think we have that idea that the game reserves are visited by only foreigners or white people or Americans, black Americans and other people who visit the game. But the Tiambendife Malawi concept, I think it's a great idea. However, Malawians, we have to understand that it's high time that we have to embrace that culture of visiting our game reserves or game parks. But we have also to look at the part of government that at the moment the pricing of how they charge, it has to be also considered that maybe there should be a month, maybe Malawian tourism month, not World Tourism Month, but Malawian Tourism Month, whereby the government has to deliberately put a policy that that month these game reserves or the game parks or the places that people lodge in games should be half down, or they should be very fair. The prices should be very, very fair. I think if that way, Tiambendi Famala will work. But at the moment, I think to visit a game like Majete, it's not for everyone. It might be for only those that have something. So that concept has to be embraced unless if there is a deliberate policy by the government such that there is less that people can give in to that. However, as I said, we should also understand that these things are not benefiting the people who are running it. They are running it for us as Malawians.
Andrew Chikusa on his experience at Majete Game Reserve. For more on the Majete experience, you can catch up with people and places right here on MBC TV on Friday, 6 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. And, well, if you love traveling, you can also share with us your experiences about Malawi on our Facebook page, MBC Malawi. And in the arts today, we go painting and dancing. And our destination is Jacaranda, where kids are realizing their inborn skills. While there, McDonald Chiwayula caught up with 22-year-old Ruben Salima, who, as we speak, is in France to pursue his arts further.
Welcome to Jacaranda. It is here where less privileged children find hope and love in arts. This institution is shaping a new generation of youth who are challenged to discover and refine their inborn skills. Here at Jacaranda, extracurricular activities such as music are being pursued with vigor. While others are marrying their fingers to the fretboard, others are playing around with the paintbrush. And so far, going by their artistic minds, the future looks promising. Take, for example, this eye-catching mural of Didi Piri on the entrance of the school, the work of 22-year-old Ruben Salima and friends. Salima, who came at this school as a toddler, has grown up into a fine visual artist, and his work is catching the attention of many. Together with his friends, he has put up this on the wall of the institution, making a clear statement on their indisputable talent with the paintbrush. Not surprising, therefore, that Ruben is headed to France to further his skills in fine arts. His outstanding artworks have caught the attention of Don Bosco Academy in Paris, who through Jacaranda School has offered him a 10-month scholarship to study filmmaking. This was last week before his departure for France.
I always loved the arts. And the other thing is that when I was enrolled here at Jacaranda, they always encouraged us to do art. So it has always been my thing. And the other good thing is that my family supported this. I also believe that I have to be different, you know, like I have to be different, think different, be creative. And this is like a platform for me to show whatever I have and also and achieving my goals as well.
Ruben has been raised by his grandmother, Evelyn Salima, who could not hide her pride in her grandson.
Kupita mwana wa ine kufansi mapunziro ndinokondwa kwambiri ndipo Mulungu amusogolere.
Founder for Jacaranda School of Orphans, Marie da Silva, says it is quite crucial to be patient with children so that they realize their God-given gifts to their fullest potential.
Ruben didn't even think that he wanted to do film. Ruben was involved in a lot of arts, like he was doing drama, he was doing visual arts, he dances, he sings. And then from his last trip, when he came back from Colorado, where we sent him, first we sent him to Otis, Schools of Arts and Design, for about a month. And he came back, and there he was interested in visual arts, and he was interested in movie stuff here and there. Then he went to Colorado, but that was on an entrepreneurship course. And he came back doing SFX makeup. And at this point I said, you know what? Maybe Chemujoya and these other people in Malawi who are making movies can take you and you can work for them and you can do their movie makeup. And he got in touch with them, but then he showed this interest in learning more about film. And what here at Jacaranda we did was, when we saw this interest, and he's the first student at Jacaranda who's shown us this interest, I thought of what is happening in Malawi. In Malawi right now we are seeing movies, the movie industry bursting open. Everybody going to, I've seen the movies, and the movies are good, the scripts are good, and here comes this youngster saying, I want to do like this, but even bigger. So what we did is we found a scholarship for him and applied, and luckily we got it.
Don Bosco Academy in France is one of the revered schools of fine arts, according to Luc Deschamps, Chief Executive Officer for Jacaranda.
You know, it's a very interesting event that's happening here, because for the first time we have one of our students at Jacaranda School going to a film school in Paris. This is an international film school. It's actually the first Malawian student who is awarded a scholarship for this film school in Paris. It's very interesting to see the development of the movie industry in Malawi. You've noticed that a lot of young people now are coming up with short movies, documentaries, sometimes advertising, and sometimes long movies, long features, like we saw even this weekend recently here in Blantyre and in Longwy. We have some trainings and some workshops, and we do some at Jacaranda Cultural Center in town. But for a young Malawian to have the opportunity to go to a top cinema school in Paris, you know, France is known worldwide for movies, so it's the mecca of movies. If you think of the Cannes Film Festival, you know, the biggest film festival in the world is in France. So to have that opportunity is huge, and I believe that after Ruben spends a year there and is successful, this will open other opportunities for other scholarships for young Malawian students from Jacaranda and from other schools or universities in Malawi. So, and it's from my knowledge, it's the first film school from France offering opportunities like this. So it's a huge opportunity.
There is so much expectation from Ruben, and the young man knows that too well. He is determined to carry the Malawi flag and become an inspiration to many of other orphans at the school and elsewhere who have turned to or want to religiously pursue fine arts. For Beyond the Headlines, this is McDonald Show.
And on that note of painting, we come to the end of this edition of Beyond the Headlines. I'm Jane Gogodos. Thanks for watching, and please keep in touch with us on our Facebook page, NBC Malawi. See you next time.